What's going on, guys? Kit Bash here, and today I have a doozy of a figure. If you're in any part of Facebook right now, at least in the toy groups, you know that this figure is getting roasted left and right. I was honestly excited for it. I didn't care about the height, but now that I have it in hand, I actually do care about the height. This figure is, I'm going to say it's a miss. I'm going to say it's a miss only because it could have been better. If it just had been as big as steel, it would have been fine. Even with the other stuff that makes it pretty bad. Here's the box, though. Product shots. You guys know I love my Mafex boxes. That's enough, though. Let's talk about this figure. Here is the Thor figure out the box. I've been messing with this figure for a couple days, and I gotta say, it just should have been bigger. It should have been bigger. I don't understand why it's as small as it is. I mean, I get what they were going for, like not a first appearance Thor, but an early Thor. You can tell by the artwork right here what type of Thor they were going for. Just a really like 1960s Thor. It could have been better. Let's go over some things that I think are a problem, though, starting with the torso. Firstly, he's a flyer. His neck can't move up. So you would think most of that looking up would come from the torso, which it kind of does, but then you get this situation right here. Like, you can see the peg in there because they didn't continue the sculpt. Now, if I bring in, let's say, Iron Man, and I move his torso, his upper torso up, you can see they continue the sculpt. Not really sure why they didn't do that here. I don't understand the logic behind it. I'll pop this all apart. Matter of fact, let's pop it apart. Can I get that part out? I probably can't. I don't want to damage the figure because I do still want to own it. But yeah, you can see the joint, and I feel like this piece should have been bigger. It would be nice if someone could engineer that. You see how sunk in that is. I would like to heat that up and pop that out just to get it a little more higher, because that's really sunken in there. I feel like this piece should have been a little bit longer just to give them that height if they weren't going to give them the size. That height would have helped this figure so much. Another thing, too, with the neck. I showed you the neck doesn't look up as much for a flyer. This guy flies, mind you. He should be able to look up. And the left and right is pretty hindered, too. The hair should have been softer plastic. It's soft. Like, you can move it, but it should have been softer. It could have been soft. I don't understand it. For the life of me, I don't understand it. And I've seen people pose it, and people's argument is, oh, if you don't like this Thor, it's because you can't pose the figure. Like, no, that's not the problem. The problem here is simple. The figure should have been bigger. I think, honestly, if the figure would have been, again, as big as steel, people wouldn't have a problem. Other than that, I think this figure is a good representation of 60s Thor, 70s Thor, whenever this Thor came out. Torso should have been different, though. This whole torso setup is terrible. I even scratched. You can see, if you can, let's try to zoom in without getting blurry. I even scratched mine just by articulating it. Before, my torso was sitting weird, and I tried to like move it, and I scratched the little silver disc, so that sucks. For the neck and the torso, they need to be different. I think everything else. Oh, I do have another issue on mine. I haven't seen anybody else talk about this, but when I bend my knees, they get stuck. Like, and I forced it, and I've been forcing it just to loosen it up, but I don't know if there's plastic in there or what, but my knees get stuck like that. So I can't just normally bend it. They both do it. They both do it. I think the elbows do it too. I haven't seen anyone else talk about it. See, mine's stuck right there, but I can flex it out, but it's scary because I don't want to break the figure. And it was tight at first. When it first happened, I thought it was going to break. I think this one does it too. Oh, no, this one doesn't. This is the only one that doesn't do that. But everything else, every other joint like that gets stuck. That's an issue. I don't understand why that exists. Not because the figure costs 60, 70 bucks, but because they make them all the time. They should have, all of that should be worked out. But I do want to show you guys the details. I do really like this head sculpt. It looks pretty stern and stoic like Thor should look. I also like the sculpt on the muscles and the chest. The muscles do have like a little wash in there, you can see, all the way down to the bracer, which is sculpted onto. I do really like the flesh tone wash they did here. It brings out the nice detail of it. You even got something down here. It's pretty sweet. Real nice Thor detail. That's Thor's belt. I don't know what the hell this belt is called, but this belt makes him stronger. I think this is the one. But yeah, really nice details. Sculpted really great. Paint is really good too. I don't have a problem with the paint on mine. Hammers looks good. Everything looks good. The cape is pretty sweet too. I really love wired capes, and this cape is really nice. So that's a plus. All a plus in my book, besides the detraction of the stuff I mentioned already. They put a blue wash on these wings too. I like that. The only thing I would change, honestly, was make these more chrome. I saw a statue, and the statue was so dope. I don't like statues though, but I did like these looking chrome. Let's go over articulation though. Starting with the head, you get left and right. That's it there. You get that far up. It's going to run in. The hair's going to run into the back. You get that far down, which is really none. It is a straight. Well, it's a little bit of a bent joint. And another thing they could have done too was just make the neck longer. Let's see if I can pop it out. Nope. They should have just made this neck longer. That's all they had to do. Just simple stuff. Like, it trips me out how steel was so good, and everything after steel has just not been good to me. Not that I don't like it, but steel is, for me, is the benchmark. Steel is where everything should be for Mafex, and everything after steel is just not as good as steel. It sucks. For the shoulders, you get about that far. Let me see. Yeah, you get about that far up. You do get a bicep swivel. You get a double jointed elbow. Go about that far. You get the telescopic, I call it telescopic wrist joint, so it'll go any direction. That's probably not the right word, but that's what I'm using. It'll go any direction, up, down, left, and right. Torso, you do get a swivel. Mine's kind of tight. You get a swivel up there. You can see how they didn't continue to sculpt. That's a perfect example. I don't even think my light is in there. There you go. You can see how they didn't continue to sculpt, and they should have. I shouldn't see the joint in there, but that just lets me know that hopefully I can heat this up and push that joint down more. But if I do that, then it's going to sink the upper torso in. Then that sucks. Damn. So, yeah. Upper torso swivels there. There's a lower torso swivel. If my fingers weren't in the way. Lower torso swivel. You get about that. It's a pretty good crunch. I can't even deny it. It's a pretty good crunch forward. That's both joints. Pretty good backwards. On the hips, you get about up that far. About back that far. You do get a drop down, which helps it a little bit more, but it's not really too much more back. This damn fist keeps popping off. Double jointed knees, you get about that far. For the ankles, you do get down that far, up that far, and a toe joint, and also an ankle pivot with ankle pivot. But it's gonna run into itself right there because they like to continue the sculpt on one side. It's kind of weird, but yeah. Overall, though, base figure out the box, it's pretty great. And you do have that feature too. The hammer will pop off because you can do different things with it, which I'm going to go over right now because we're going to talk about accessories. For accessories, starting with the head, you do get one extra head, which is this angry head. This is the, like, shit will pop on. Oh, and this is part of what I mean about the neck should have been longer, because I shouldn't have to have an issue popping the head on right now. Like, it should just pop on. There we go. You do get an angry head too. This is his I'm the God of Thunder head right here. He's gonna smite you and smote you, or whatever God of Thunders do. Not a bad looking head. I do like the expression here. It's really nice. I like how even with the flesh tone, you can still pick out the eyebrows. It's pretty sweet. And then coming to the hands, you do get a wide array of hands. Like a wide array of hands. It's really, really good. That's one thing I like about Mafex is the hand game be on point sometime. But you get this hammer holding hand that has a little hole in it. It won't let you put the whole entire hammer handle in the hand. It's not loose, which is really good. It stops about, usually stops, try to force it down more. Usually stops about right there, but I like to force mine down just a little more, just to give some space between the hammer and his hand. And this is like keyed in one way. It's a whole situation. But yeah, I usually force it down just a little more, just to give him a little more space on the hammer. You also get, but you do get the fisticuffs hands, so Thor throwing from the shoulders. You get these like open, confused looking hands, like Thor looks like he lost his hammer. Swapping these hands makes me nervous. I've seen somebody break this shit already. But you get these like stylized hands. You also get these like really splayed open hands, like Thor has a headache maybe. You can give him, Thor has a God of Thunder headache. You can do that. You get these karate chop hands in case you want Thor to be a karate master. Now for the hammer hands, you get a few different options for hammer displaying. I have these hands right here. It makes it look like he threw the hammer and he's holding on to it while he's flying, which is what he's supposed to do. It's a Thor thing. So you get that, but you get that for both sides. And then you also get this type of hammer hand. He's like holding it, the hammer like this. Don't really know why, unless he was like swinging it at someone like so. Unless Thor was just coming across like he was gonna bash your damn head in. And you get that for both. Damn, my arm popped off. Did it break? Jeez Louise. That on both sides too. So you get one on each side just in case you want Thor to be right-handed or left-handed. There you go. And last but not least, you do get this little baby hammer with the clip. You can also take the top off this one, just in case you want Thor to have a little baby hammer. Get that. But yeah, this thing clips onto the belt. Apparently this was a thing. I don't know shit about old comics. Well, he does this in new comics too. What am I talking about? But yeah, you don't have to pop it apart. It's just a little easier. I was able to do it without popping it apart. But you just get this here and you slide it on like so. It's pretty tight too. Slide it on like so. If you don't want to pop your figure apart, I'll show you how to do that too. But yeah, then you can get his hammer on his side. I don't know if it's like supposed to be more in the front. So yeah. And you get his hammer on the side of him like that. So yeah, you get your little baby Thor. You get your little baby Mjolnir and you can put it on his waistband just in case you want Thor to be in like a heroic pose. Like say you want Thor like this or something. Some classic corny ass pose. Thor also comes with those same like crow's chicken feet things under his cape. I don't mind them so much on Thor because I know in the comics his cape is supposed to be really puffy around his neck. It's not that bad. Plus the head's not hindered because the head can't move anyway. So yeah, I don't mind it as much here. You get all of that, and then if you don't want to pop the figure apart, you can just do it like that. You just push him to the side and you wiggle it in. Best way you could do it without popping the figure apart. But yeah, all in all though, I do like the figure. It could have been better. Bigger would have been better. That's what they always say. But yeah, I like this figure. People want me to start rating these figures. I'll give Thor a solid, like, let's say a solid 6.5. Could have been better. If he was bigger, this figure would be a solid 8, maybe 9. But him being the size he is, him having that torso issue, this head can't look anywhere, I'm going to give it a 6. Maybe they'll spin the block and make a better one. I doubt it. Mafex is not known for making different versions. Are they? I'm going to fucking lie. They are. They just made X-Force, Wolverine, and Deadpool. But yeah, usually Mafex takes a long time to make different figures, so hopefully they can spin back and make a better one. Is the lighting not fucking terrible? I think the lighting is terrible. Hopefully they can spin the block and make a better one. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and check out my Amazon storefront. I do have one. Everything I use in customizing for tools and figures, everything's on there. 3D printers, everything. Buy something, I get a little commission off of it. And I'm out.